In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to write equations of horizontal and vertical lines from points. The learning target states, I can write equations of horizontal and vertical lines from a point. And you can do this when, given a direction such as horizontal or vertical and a point, you determine whether the equation will be x equals or y equals based on whether it's horizontal or vertical, identify the appropriate coordinate from the given point, and then finally write the equation as x equals a number or y equals a number. But before I demonstrate how to do that, we have to really quickly talk about how we can look at a graph and classify lines by their slope. When we read a graph, we read from left to right, just as if we were reading a book. So looking at this particular graph of this red line, I'm noticing that if I read it from left to right, this line is increasing or going up in the positive y direction as x increases in the positive x direction. Therefore, this particular line has a positive slope. Slope simply describes how steep something is. If you were to picture yourself walking on the line, you would notice that as you walk from left to right, you're going up. Looking at this next line, if I read it from left to right, I notice that this line is going down in the negative y direction. Therefore, this particular line has a negative slope. We're not concerned at the moment with exactly how steep the line is. We're just trying to determine if it's positive, negative, or one of our special cases, which are represented here. This particular line is completely flat. So if I walk from left to right on this line, I'm not going up nor down. I'm just staying flat. Therefore, this line has a slope of 0. I think of a zero slope line as a line that would be really nice to go for a walk on because it wouldn't require much effort. As a little preview to the next part, equations of these lines are written as y equals a number. If I take a look at this very last line, the slope of this line is undefined. It's undefined because it's so steep, straight up and down, that we can't actually measure how steep it is. If you picture yourself trying to walk from left to right on this line, you can't really do it, and you would just fall off the line. So I think of undefined as death. It has the D in it, just like death, and a line with an undefined slope, you would die trying to walk on it because you would fall right off. It's straight up and down. Let's take a look at how we actually write these equations. If you have y equals a number, that means you are looking at a line with a 0 slope. If you see an equation that says x equals a number, that means you are looking at a line with an undefined slope. An example of each could be as follows. X equals 3. How about y equals 3? And in an example of a line with an undefined slope would maybe be x equals negative 4. Now let's practice writing an equation given a point. First, you need to determine how you write these generally. So an equation of a horizontal line, or a flat line from left to right, like that, will always be y equals the y value of the point. You'll notice the directions for every single problem here tells us to write the equation of a horizontal line through a given point. Therefore, the answers to all of these will be y equals the y value of the point. I'm just going to go ahead and write y equals. And now I'm going to identify the y value of each point. Looking at 2 comma negative 4, the y value is negative 4. So the equation of a horizontal line through that point, a flat line with a 0 slope, is y equals negative 4. It's kind of the opposite of what you would think because horizontal is usually the x-axis, but if you think back to when we were graphing horizontal and vertical lines, remember that an x equals resulted in a vertical line going up and down, and a y equals resulted in a horizontal line going from left to right, because it's all about where it crosses the axis. Therefore, the equations of horizontal lines will say y equals instead of x equals, even though x is the horizontal axis. So here, I write y equal 5, because the y value of the point is 5. Looking at that third problem, once again it asks us to write a horizontal line, so I know it needs to be y equal to the y value. And if the y value is -2, it's y equals -2. And lastly, it's once again a horizontal line. I see that the y value of the point is 3, so I'm going to write y is equal to 3. Similarly, when we write an equation of a vertical line, we are going to write it as x is equal to the x value of the point. And you'll notice that all of the problems here direct us to write the equation of a vertical line through a specific point. Therefore, all of these will be written as x is equal to the x value of the point. Looking at this first point, the x value is 2, so the equation of the line is x equals 2. Looking at the second point, the x value of the point is 3, so the equation of the line is x equals 3, then x equals -1, and then finally x equals -4. And that's how you can write equations of horizontal and vertical lines when you're given a point.